The Under Armour Shadow Elite 2.0 combines a familiar outsole with a brand new upper and lacing system in the most recent update. Let's break down what's good, what's not so good, and whether or not you should buy these cleats. The IntelliKnit upper on these is pretty unique. There's a lot going on here and it's made up of multiple layers. I was expecting the knit area here below the laces to be more flexible, but it's actually more like a fly knit material with little to no stretch. There's even more structure with this exo mesh layer further down, and this really wraps the midfoot tightly. The material at the toe is much more soft and pliable than I was expecting, and there's a decent amount of texture here as well. Now there's also another layer that wraps all the way along where the upper meets the sole plate to give a little bit more support. The most interesting part of the upper, though, in my opinion, is the lacing system. Under Armour has added these 5 rubber pieces around the laces. I think they call them strike pods. And they don't allow a whole lot of stretching in the knit tongue and collar. And they also prevent the laces from slipping. These rubber elements are quite grippy and they're supposed to help with ball control. See if I can get a close up there. Now these have less stretch through the midfoot than I was expecting, so I would probably give them a few sessions to break them in before wearing them in matches. The carbon fiber sole plate is mostly unchanged from the previous version. They did add one extra stud in the middle here, but otherwise it's exactly the same, and they provide pretty good traction on firm ground. Despite being bladed, the front studs are fairly short, and I think they certainly can be worn on artificial grass, but they probably wouldn't be my first choice for this. I think it would be awesome if Under Armour eventually made an AG specific model for these. I'm not really sure if there's any specific benefit to this sole plate design. It feels okay, but I think most players would be more comfortable with a traditional stud pattern, and it does just feel a little bit wobbly and not the most stable. So the fit and shape of this model has changed from the previous Shadow Pro. These have a lot more toe box volume than the previous version. I initially ordered my usual size 8.5, which fit perfectly in the previous model, but there was way too much room in the toe box for these, so I had to go down a half size to a size 8. They are a little snug in the midfoot, but I expect this to loosen up a bit, and the toe box fits much better down a half size. If you have a wide foot or prefer a lot of volume in the toe box, you probably want to stay true to size still. Now the upper feels pretty thin on these, so I'm curious to see the weight. So we have 221 grams, or 7.8 ounces. So not the lightest cleats ever, but certainly not heavy either. I think Under Armour has done a pretty good job with the upper on these overall, although I probably prefer the older version just a little bit more, and they did fit my feet a little bit better. Juggling, shooting, and dribbling with these all felt pretty good, and they feel like they're gonna hold up really well durability-wise. Still, I wouldn't mind seeing a more traditional sole plate for these, and I would love to have an AG option at some point. Hopefully for the next version they can figure out the fit as well. Let me know in the comments what you think Under Armour should do for the next generation. Thanks for watching.